The Chargers have everything they need to beat the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau this weekend, and we think that Austin Ekeler could be in for a big game.
You are Locked On Chargers, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Chargers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome into the Locked On Chargers podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Wade, joined as always by my co-host, David Drogemeyer, and we've been covering the Chargers together for 8 seasons now, but this is our 6th year as the host of the Locked On Chargers podcast, bringing you your team every day. Thank you guys, as always, for making this your first listen today. And to make sure you never miss the show, go subscribe or follow for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. David, what do we got today?
Well, we got to get into our keys for success for this very big game against the Green Bay Packers. And on offense, we got to tell you why Austin Ekeler has to be a fixture, has to be a focal point in this offense. And on defense, the Chargers secondary needs to be ready to take advantage of Jordan Love when he puts the ball in harm's way.
Absolutely. And I mean, for Austin Ekeler, he's one of basically 2 guys that we know are going to play this week offensively outside of Justin Herbert that we know can produce at a high level, right? Like, it's Keenan Allen, it's Austin Ekeler, and it's everybody else for the Chargers offense right now. But this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. David, whenever we're looking at these games, we're always trying to find, who has a mismatch, who could be in for a big game. When we're talking about the offense, right, there's only so many places you can go with it. But in this one, for multiple reasons, I'm looking for Austin Ekeler to have a big game, receiving and rushing, right? Like, that's the thing about Austin Ekeler. You can do both with him. And I think one of the best ways that you can keep your passing attack potent, especially against a team that's probably going to, like I would, pay extra attention to Keenan Allen, right? Yeah. You have another legitimate, volatile weapon in your backfield that can go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, right? And I think that for this game coming up, you guys, a defense he's going up against is giving up a lot of rushing yards this season. Pretty average as far as with the receiving yards allowed to running backs, but this isn't any sort of receiving running back, right? So I'm looking for Austin Ekeler to help keep this offense going and help them pick up from where they left off last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be argued that Austin Ekeler is, either the best receiving back in the NFL or the second best receiving back in the NFL to Christian McCaffrey. It's either one or two. I mean, I think it's definitely in that conversation. But Austin Ekeler's heated up as of late. I mean, he's averaging 102.7 scrimmage yards in his last 3 games, and he scored 4 touchdowns. So Austin Ekeler getting healthier, getting more involved in the game plan, especially in the passing attack. Also, more specifically, some beautiful screens that the Chargers have been able to execute with Austin Ekeler. Whenever you get that guy in space with some big bodies in front of him to allow him to kind of cut and maneuver where he sees fit, where he needs to, he always gets extra yards. In those situations, it feels like he is a threat to take it to the house every single time.
And we've seen him do it, right? But like, the crazy thing about him on screen passes is, like, sometimes the offensive line aren't even blocking anyone. But like, just having them as like barriers to, weave in and out of, or to set guys up defensively, like the way he sets up defenders to just disappear behind an offensive lineman and he's going the totally different direction is probably best in the league. And I mean, Christian McCaffrey definitely up there as far as receiving backs. Nobody's sniffing Austin Ekeler. Even with 17 games in a row with a touchdown for Christian McCaffrey, he's still not sniffing Austin Ekeler and what he's been able to do since the start of the 2021 season. Nobody scores touchdowns like Austin Ekeler. But this doesn't mean, don't get Josh Kelly involved either, right?
Yeah.
Packers 27th in rushing yards allowed. They're 20th in yards per carry allowed. What I really loved last week was Justin Herbert running the speed option with Austin Ekeler. A new little wrinkle. I would love to see more than that, more of that, David, because I think, when you have that dual threat, you have to account for Justin Herbert. You can't just go play Austin Ekeler. That was one of the best runs we saw last weekend. And when you're trying to kind of figure out what you want to do offensively, I think that's a great place to look. Get, Justin Herbert involved. Get Austin Ekeler out on the perimeter and let those guys go to work. And I think that's why one of my other keys here is just getting Justin Herbert on the move. Packers have a pretty nice pass defense. They haven't played a ton of great quarterbacks so far this year, but no team has thrown for more than 300 yards against them. Only 2 teams have hit 200 passing yards against them this season, and only Kirk Cousins has 2 or more touchdowns against them. So one of the things I think the Chargers can do to combat that is not only, getting Justin Herbert on the move so we can create out of structure and buy his receivers more time to get open downfield, but also use his legs. And this is a team that will allow it. I mean, the Packers are allowing 20 rushing yards to quarterbacks so far this year on average. Doesn't seem like a lot, but Justin Herbert's only hit 20 yards twice this season. So if that's what this team is allowing on average, like, you could see Justin Herbert have, the most rushing yards you've had all season, and I would love to see it.
Well, and it just shows you and shows everyone else that Justin Herbert is indeed feeling healthier. If the Chargers are putting him in positions to potentially run with the football or make a decision where he has to, either pitch it or keep it, that means that they're feeling like he's ready to tote it and, that he can protect himself. And he showed. I mean, he showed against the Lions. He is able to escape and he is able to run with the football and extend drives. That is another reason what that makes Justin Herbert so dangerous, but you have to respect his ability to throw on the run as well. I mean, you saw him be able to create and be able to hit Quentin Johnston on kind of a backyard football type of play.
Scramble,
but that's what Justin Herbert is capable of. So if you move the pocket kind of, by the structure and allow some extra time, especially against a defensive line, it's pretty potent. I mean, these guys, there's three or four guys on here that have 5+ sacks. That's going to be coming after him. So move the pocket, change the rushing lanes, and give Justin Herbert some opportunities to throw on the run. He can do it with great accuracy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think as far as that goes, right, you're protecting the offensive line a little bit with the screen game, by running the ball, by moving the pocket, all of those things. But, like, it's a good matchup. Be able to run the ball, man. Like, the good teams would be able to lean on their running game here when you're going up against a plus passing defense. Like, you should be able to lean on your running game in a game like this. But the offensive line has to pass protect, but you need to see them actually moving some guys off the line of scrimmage this week, which isn't going to be easy. But you have to find a way to do it because you have to be a well-balanced team if you want to go put away teams like this. The Packers are a scrappy team, man. Yeah. But one thing they do is they do give up explosive plays, and that's why I also want to see Justin Herbert get out and on the move because this is a defense that will allow a ton of explosive plays. They've given up the 8th most explosive plays in the league. You heard Peter Bukowski on the crossover episode yesterday talking about that's one thing these two teams have in common, right? They give up explosive plays. Most of them have come on the ground. They've given up 30 runs of 10+ yards, whereas the Chargers have only given up 23 and 25 passing plays of 20+. You can guess where the Chargers are. They're at 38 in that one, obviously. Yeah. Not great, but this is a team that will allow some chunk plays, right? When you're trying to put up points consistently week to week, you have to be able to find that. You're not going to be able to slog it out 16 plays at a time, right?
Right.
Find your opportunities and get those explosive plays against the defense that allows a bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, I absolutely want to see some manufactured shot plays. We haven't seen them kind of send Jalen Guyton streaking down the football field,
Jalen Guyton,
and to give him some opportunities to go do what he really does best. He is at his best a 20+ yards per reception type of receiver. Yeah. That's the kind of impact that he makes. But another thing I want to see the Chargers do with Justin Herbert is throw the ball more on first down. I mean, get yourself in better advantageous situations where you can mix it up on second down. You can run the football if you want to because you're in a second and third situation, or you can play action in that situation. Mix that up. But I was looking for something to kind of quantify that, and Arjun Menon provided a really good stat. This is from the Lions game. The Chargers' early down rushing success rate on 9 runs in the first half was 22%, which is the 12th percentile outcome. Chargers' early down dropback success rate on 17 dropbacks in the first half was 59%, which is 85th percentile outcome. So it just shows you they are a lot more effective when they are throwing the football on first and second down than running the football and banging their heads up against the wall.
Exactly. And you build in the play action there too, where Justin Herbert has always been really good. That's how you can set up those explosive plays. Get them off balance. Don't do the thing that drove me crazy last week is the first 3 drives started with a run between the tackles. You don't have to do that. Just because you want to run the football, get that first down, man. The Chargers are so much better when they just can stay away from the 3 and out. When they get that first down, they're getting points almost every time, right? Yeah. And that's what you need to do. And if you want to talk about teams using first down successfully and finding explosive plays there, just look at what the Lions did to the Chargers last week. They absolutely torched the Chargers on first down.
Badly.
Do that to someone else. That's what we want to see. And
exactly.
If they can do that and they can actually be better defensively on first down, they're going to give themselves some opportunities against Jordan Love, who will put the ball in harm's way, and the Chargers have to make him pay for it. So we're going to talk about that coming up right after this. First, I need to tell you guys about one of the best things you need for your football Sunday, and of course, I'm talking about DoorDash. Why root for your team on an empty stomach? Order DoorDash and save on football watch party favorites. One of the best things about DoorDash always, though, is finding the hidden gems in your community and getting them delivered right to you. I love scrolling through DoorDash and finding different things and just different types of food that I don't normally eat and having it brought to me. But this week, the local restaurant we are locked on is Little Pan. Little Pan specializes in pan-fried buns that you have to try, and they're known for having some of the freshest ingredients in town. Make sure you try the house special pork buns and rainbow dumplings. If you guys haven't tried a pork bun before, it's like taking a bite into just a pillow of heaven, right? Like, that's what it is. It's so hot inside. It's so good, so soft. You have to try it, and you can save some money. You can get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. When you download the DoorDash app, enter the code LOCKED23. That's 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. When you download the DoorDash app, enter code LOCKED23. Subject to change. Terms apply. David, let's get into our defensive keys for success here. And I think, you talked a little bit about it yesterday with Peter Bukowski, where it's like, okay, if you're looking at this Packers game, there's a lot of little things the Chargers will have to do right. But, like, there's one big thing they have to get right, which is putting Jordan Love in bad situations and making him have to really fight to go beat you. Like, Jordan Love has been decent so far this year. I mean, he's been about average so far. Chargers have made worse quarterbacks look good than Jordan Love, right? I mean, he's not as bad as some of the backups they played, not as good as the good quarterbacks that they played, right? The Tuas and the Kirks and the Patrick Mahomes and the Dak Prescotts. That being said, though, he does take some risky chances, David, right? And I think that one big thing and one way the Chargers can make this, I think, a more comfortable game for themselves is taking advantage of those situations and making Jordan Love pay.
100%. Jordan Love is a quarterback that, it's been a knock on him since he played in college. It's just, he's a gunslinger. He's very much in the same mold of a Brett Favre. He is a guy that has great arm talent, but trusts that arm talent a little bit too much. And that's why he has, the second most interceptions in the NFL, but behind, Josh Allen. So there's going to be some opportunities for the Chargers to get their hands on some footballs. And he does, throw the football deep quite a bit. He has, 46 attempts of 20-plus yards where he has only thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Yeah. And especially the Chargers need to key in on opportunities against Christian Watson, especially in the contested catch realm. He's only 2 of 12 in the contested catch situations with 5 interceptions. Yeah, so there's a real opportunity to kind of body him, get in front of him, and take away those deep shots because they want to use that speed to be able to stretch the field, but they haven't had very much success doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have that as one of my keys. Be aggressive and get up on these young receivers. I mean, the Packers have one of the youngest receiving cores in the NFL. Pretty much every single receiver that they're going to put out there on Sunday is a rookie or a second-year player, and they've drafted a ton of them. Same with the tight ends. 2 rookie tight ends you have to look out for in this one. Yep. And I think besides getting aggressive, like, hey, let Michael Davis go and press these guys at the line.
Yes.
Slow down the quick passing attack. Don't let him, make him take that extra beat. Make him hold on to the ball a little bit longer. Give your pass rushers a little bit of extra time against a couple of good tackles who really handled a great Steelers pass rush last week to show you kind of what they can do. But I think it starts with getting aggressive on first downs. I mean, if you look at where the Chargers have been bad, they were giving up the explosive plays on first down. I mean, listen to the first down plays they allowed last week. 46-yard catch and run on the first drive by the Lions last week by Amon-Ra St. Brown. They give a 36-yard Jahmyr Gibbs carry, a 75-yard touchdown run by David Montgomery, a 20-yard touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown later in the game, and a 41-yard pass on the last series of the game that really sealed it. When you have to hold them for anything but a field goal, you have 41 yards on the first down, right? That's where teams are getting the Chargers, right? The Chargers are playing run defense fronts on those plays, and teams are getting them in bad passing, formations basically, and just absolutely exposing their linebackers. Don't let them sit back there on play action, right? If you want that, backside defender, you want him to help in the run, sure, but they're going to run play action. You got to have that guy a beeline to Jordan Love, right? You want somebody in his face right as he turns around on those play actions. You don't want to be stuck at the line of scrimmage trying to play the run when they're setting up a deep shot down the field. And Matt LaFleur can do that. Like, he'll scheme some guys open. I mean, the double fake screen he had for a touchdown to the tight end Luke Musgrave was beautiful. I mean, he can set some things up, some easy things. You're trying to take those easy things away on first down. Turn the heat up. Put Derwin James up there. Let him blitz, and you have to obviously be wary, right? You don't want to get caught in screens, and you have to have a high football IQ when you do it. But I'm tired of seeing the Chargers sit back on first down and just get absolutely torched and let these teams start their drives off with 20-plus yard plays down the field. I think it starts there on first down.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing is we got to play a lot more coverage on those early downs. We got to play a lot more man. The Chargers need to, like you said, get in those receivers' faces, disrupt their timing. Don't let them get off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
No free releases. Make it difficult. Make it hard for them to get open. Disrupt their timing. And if you do that, then you give the opportunity for the pass rush to come alive, which is one of my keys. You absolutely have to get the pass rush back. They have to get back on track. Against the Lions, Joey Bosa had 1 pressure. Khalil Mack had 3 pressures. Thule had 1 pressure on 9 pass rushing snaps. That cannot happen in this football game. The Chargers secondary needs the pass rush to get home and get after Jordan Love. And also, Jordan Love is a quarterback that has fumbled 5 times already this season. So he is a guy that you can get the ball out of. He will run a little bit in the open field, so he has some athleticism. But the Chargers need to get after him, and they need to really speed him up and be able to give some help to their secondary so that when Jordan Love does make those throws, that they can be there to pick him off.
Yeah, but the thing is he's not going to have to make those throws or even attempt those throws if the Chargers don't have a better run defense than showed up last week, right?
That's right.
Like, the return of the run defense has to be a key for this one because the Chargers heading into the last game had given up the most was 141 rushing yards in a single game. They allowed 177 in the first half, right? It was flashbacks to 2022 for sure. Like, it was honestly like deja vu in the worst possible way.
Ugly.
Multiple runs of 35-plus yards last week, right? I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, they only allowed 23 rushing yards in the second half. If you're looking, for something to feel good about there. But I think it starts with better containment from the edge defenders. And that's the other reason I want these corners up close, getting close to the line of scrimmage, is because that helps in the running game too, right? Less ground to cover. If you're 12 yards off the ball and they run a running play, that's a lot of time for that receiver to come up and get in front of you and create wider rushing lanes instead of you just being there, shutting things down, turning the ball back inside, which is what these corners need to do in those situations. Set the edge is going to be hugely important. You need it from your edge defenders. You can't let your defensive tackles get blown off the line of scrimmage like we saw last week. I'd like to even see, if you're going to just concede that anyways, get more Morgan Fox on early downs. Get more Tito Abonian on early downs, right? Like, if the team are running the football well against you anyways, and they're also having all day to pass, give those guys more opportunities.
Yeah, you got to take one of them away. You can't allow them to get explosive plays on the ground and through the air. You have to take one of those avenues away. For me, I would personally want to take the run away and let Jordan Love be the guy that puts the ball in harm's way, which he will do that. So, do not allow the rushing attack to get after you. These are kind of 2 bigger backs. They're kind of less explosive. They don't have as much of a home run threat to them. But, if they get going, they can definitely churn out some tough yards. So you don't want to allow them to keep drives alive by running the football, which is going to make Jordan Love that much more successful when he does do play action.
Well, and let's just be honest, man. You let a team run the ball on you on 4th and 5 last week. I don't care if Brandon Staley says it's a designed run or not, or like a designer rushing play. I don't care, man. Like,
I do not care.
How disrespectful that is, right? Do you know
how livid?
Yeah, like, they ran against you on 4th and 5. They ran against you on 3rd and 6. Like, that is a total
That's just
lack
disrespectful.
Of disrespect. No,
it's like,
sure.
I know I'm going to run the football on you, and there's nothing you can do to stop me, whether it's 4th down or not. You can never allow a team to do that. Ever.
Don't get pushed around, man. Man up. Like, you have to be able to hold your ground in this
game.
game.
Bring the physicality.
Packers always have a good offensive line, man. Like, if they let him push you around, you're not going to get those opportunities. Like, Jordan Love's not going to need to take those chances against you. He might take a couple, right? But, like, you want, ideally, him put in 3rd and long situations, stop the run, help your pass rush out a little bit, because if you keep getting stuck in these 2nd and 3rd and 3s and 4th and 1s and 3rd and 1s,
get wore out.
Teams are just going to run it down your throat. Why not? And you might stop them once in a blue moon like we saw in the last game, but more often than not, they were getting pushed around, and that can't happen again in this game. Not against this team, because that's what's going to keep them in this game and keep them having a hope that they can go win this game. And that's exactly what you want to extinguish early. So Do we think the Chargers are going to win? We have to put our money where our mouths are, David, and get into our bold and our game predictions. 2 weeks in a row with a bold prediction coming true, plus some, right? Both of us hitting some big bold predictions over the last couple of weeks. So we'll get into this week's and our final game predictions coming up right after this. First, though, I need to tell you guys about PrizePicks, which is daily fantasy made easy. With PrizePicks, you just select 2 or more players, pick more or less than their projected stats, and place your entries. The more entries that you hit on, the more you win. And if you hit up to 6 on the same entry, you can win 25 times your money. That's what I love about PrizePicks, though. It's not just picking a fantasy lineup. Everyone loves fantasy football. I'm in multiple fantasy football leagues. But what this does is it lets you find the matchups every week that you want. You don't have to just play against Jamar Chase since you didn't get him in the draft. You can use him, right, for a game this week. Or if you want to go Chargers this weekend, you can put this entry in. You can go Justin Herbert more than or less than 264.5 passing yards and pair that with Keenan Allen more than or less than 84.5 receiving yards. You hit on those, you win. It's that simple. If you're feeling crazy, you could add an Austin Ekeler rushing for more or less than 57.5 rushing yards. That's it. That's all you have to do with PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL, and you can even get some free money to play with the all lowercase Locked On NFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Promo code LockedOnNFL for that first deposit match up to $100. You put in $100, they will match that $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. David, it's time to put our money where our mouths are. This is your team every day, and it's that time of the week, right, where we have to say if we think the Chargers are going to win this week. Feel better about it, obviously, than I did against the Lions, but I think the Packers are scrappy, man. Like, I think the last thing you want to do is be looking at the Ravens game next week and not take this game seriously. But that's just on today's show. We'll be back with you guys probably a little bit later since David's going to be at Lambeau Field for this one for the post-game show. But, hey, a live post-game show from some hotel in Green Bay, I am fully here for. But Locked On has something I need to tell you guys about, because Locked On has the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Imagine that, 24 hours a day, you can go on there and get fresh content from the Locked On national podcast, getting into every sport all day, every day. So make sure you guys check that out, because that is something really cool going on. Locked On Sports Day on YouTube, and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. David, let's get into our bold predictions here. I think there's a few different ways we could go offensively for this one. Who are you looking for, or what are you looking to see from the Chargers this week?
Yeah, so my offensive bold prediction is going to be around the rookie first-round pick, Quentin Johnston.
I love it.
Quentin Johnston, I feel like, has been very close to breaking some really big runs after catch, and really taking out for touchdowns. I think that close is going to turn into some production this week. I'm going 6 catches, 110 yards, and a 40-yard breakaway touchdown for Quentin Johnston.
I love that. That was actually my backup bold prediction, was something very similar to that. Last week I went Keenan Allen, and somehow he almost doubled my bold prediction. So I guess I have to go a little bit bolder, right? I mean, I thought the Chargers not allowing a defensive touchdown was bold, but Keenan Allen made me feel bad about being bold last week. So you're going Quentin Johnston. I put Austin Ekeler on the thumbnail today, right? I'm going Austin Ekeler, but this is what I have him doing. I have over 75 rushing yards and over 75 receiving yards, 150 scrimmage yard performance from Austin Ekeler. But we're talking about Austin Ekeler here. 3 touchdowns from the touchdown monster, Austin Ekeler. He finds a way to get into the end zone 3 times. That's where I'm going this week for the offensive bold prediction. 150 scrimmage yards, 3 touchdowns for Austin Ekeler. Let's go defensive now, David. What do you have for the Chargers defensive bold prediction this week?
Yeah, so after a pretty quiet performance against a very good Detroit Lions offensive line, I think both of the Chargers edge rushers, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, are going to be very angry after that performance, and it's
a tough matchup for them.
Upset. And I think that they're going to see this matchup as another opportunity to be able to show that they are legit and that they are a pair of pass rushers to be feared. So that's why I have them getting back on track with 4 sacks and a forced fumble of Jordan Love in this game.
Man, I'd love to see that. And obviously, we don't go over our bold predictions beforehand, right? I don't know if that's bold enough, David. I mean, this Chargers team has had 4+ sacks, I think 4 games this season already, right? So, I mean, I think in this game, what makes that bold, though, is the tackles they're going up against, right? They have a tougher matchup And this is where you need those guys, $30+ million players, to go out there and beat good tackles, right?
That's right.
I think the frustrating thing about this Chargers team is like, you can't be getting shut down just because you're playing a good offensive line. Like any pass rush can be good against a bad offensive line. Anyone can be good against the Bears, right? Like that's easy. Go do it against a good offensive line. Anyone can
That's
do
what
it
we're
against
really
the Jets.
paying you for.
Exactly.
Right?
To win the premier matchups, right?
That's right.
For neither Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa to have a pressure against Penei Sewell, a second or third year player last week. I mean, Penei Sewell was great. Still, those guys should be better, right? I've seen those guys win one-on-one and Rashawn Slater and training camp, things like that, right? Like, that's what you're paying them to do. Go win those good matchups. I had something similar. I accidentally went a little bit more bold than you, though, this week. Your make Jordan Love pay, I took to heart. I have Jordan Love getting picked 3 times in this game.
Let's go.
The Chargers stacking him 5 times in this game. And also getting a forced fumble off of him. He is a guy that I think the Chargers can get to, if they play their cards right. Like, I still think the Packers still, even with that, could still put up some points because we're talking about a Chargers defense that, you just never know what you're going to get there.
Yeah.
But I have them really making him pay. The Steelers sacked him only once last week. 5 times I have it in this game. He's only been picked off 3 times in a game once this season with those 10 picks, right? I have him doing both of those in the same game this week. So, David, let's get into our game predictions. I think I know where you're going with this one. You picked I picked him to win against the Lions. But more importantly, you're going to this game.
I am.
You need them to pull this off. You don't want, Houston Texans game because that's usually the away game you go to, right? We need something better to happen in this one. Do you think the Chargers pull off a win while you're visiting the historic Lambeau Field on Sunday?
Yes, I do. I am very confident that the Chargers are going to get a win in this one. The Chargers are struggling giving up the explosives, so I think it's going to be a little bit closer than I want it to be.
Yeah.
But in the end, I trust the Chargers to be able to protect the football a lot better. They're top 3 turnover differential in the NFL, and the Green Bay Packers are bottom 3 turnover differential in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I have the Chargers offense being too much for the Green Bay Packers to be able to keep up with, and that's why I have the Chargers winning this game 31-21.
I like that score. I think whatever reason, man, I have a hard time thinking the Chargers are going to dominate this team. I think the Packers are scrappy. Like, I think people see the 3-6 Packers and sometimes fail to realize that the Chargers are literally 1 game better than that, right?
That's
the Chargers
true.
are 1 more loss away from being 3-6 themselves. So I don't think the disparity between these two teams up till this point is as much as Charger fans would like. That being said, the Chargers should absolutely be able to win this game. If I trusted the offense fully, if I trusted the rushing attack fully, I would pick them to win this game by double digits. That being said, I don't think I can. Like, the Chargers just haven't instilled that trust in me yet. I don't think that, you're not getting another backup quarterback this week. This is not an offense that is totally inept like you saw with the Bears, like you saw against the Jets, even with, Aiden O'Connell with the Raiders. Like, I don't think this offense is that level of dysfunction.
No, yeah, they're not.
So I have the Chargers winning, right? For people I say I never pick the Chargers to win. I have the Chargers in a game that scares me a little bit. This is a trap game for me, as much as a must-win game can be, right? You have the Ravens next week who are blowing the brakes off people. You have to win this one. That one doesn't matter nearly as much, right? So I have the Chargers winning 27-21 in this one. And I think, David, it's just because there's just not a lot of parts of this team right now I can fully trust.
I totally understand it, Daniel, and I kind of went back and forth. I had a 31-24 score as well, so I can see that being a reality for sure, just because, like I said, this team has really struggled giving up explosives. It's been very, very inconsistent, and that's scary against a quarterback that does have great arm talent. So we'll see what happens. I am stoked to go to Lambeau Field. It is a truly historic place. That is a bucket list item. I can't wait to meet all of those Charger fans that are going to be out there. It's going to be a blast. Let's go cheer our butts off and bring back a Chargers victory.
That'd be great, man. I mean, there's nothing like getting a win in a hostile territory either, right? Like, being the happy fan in a sea full of sad fans is a pretty unique feeling. But don't let us down, Chargers. Go get it done. This is a very business-like business trip. Go get the job done type of a game for me, right? And I think the Chargers absolutely should. Go do it. So we can be back here, your team every day on Sunday night after the game with a post-game show, hopefully celebrating with you guys a victory live after the game and giving the Chargers, a chance, keeping them alive for one more week. But until then, guys, Make sure to go follow or subscribe for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. We love all of our podcasts and our YouTube viewers. You can also find the show every day on all of our social media. You can find us on Twitter at Locked On LAC. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Talk Sports and David Drogemeyer at DroTalk SD. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Chargers and our Locked On Chargers Facebook page. So make sure you guys are back here with us Sunday at some point. We will be getting a show out to you guys. We'll see how David's internet connection is at the hotel, but hopefully we're here celebrating with you guys a big win. Cheese for everybody. But until then, guys, take it easy and go Bolts.